Optique 2000 brings you the Optique 2000 Tunisian Rally.
Hello and welcome to Eurosport's coverage of the Rally of Tunisia 1993. This was last year when the rally was held for the 12th time. We're getting ready now for the 13th running of this rally, and it's the first round of the Rally Raid World Cup of this season. But this is back last year. Jean-Louis Schlesser busy digging his way out of the very wet sand that the competitors found in Tunisia. It really was very difficult to get the bikes and cars through, and a lot of competitors having an awful lot of problems. Well, in the car section, the Mitsubishi Pajeros were the ones expected to do the winning, and, well, problems for Bruno Sabi fairly early on. Just special stage number 3, when Sabi managed to roll his Mitsubishi Pajero. He managed to get towed out of trouble, but damage to that right rear quarter meant that Sabi was effectively out of the rally at that stage. Very unfortunate for the French rally driver, who's taken up rally raids in the past few years with quite a lot of success, it has to be said, but it wasn't going to be success on last year's Tunisia rally, and he was going to have to hope for better things in the future. So his teammate Saeed Al-Hajri took the lead in the similar car, the Rothmans Pajero, really setting the pace and not being able to be caught by the opposition. Citroen weren't competing in this one, so the Mitsubishis had it pretty much their own way. Well, a tremendous battle on the motorbikes as well, and very difficult conditions for the motorcyclists as well as for the cars. But a good battle developing between the likes of Heinz Kinnigadner, the very experienced German rider, and accidents aplenty as well as the bikers try to get used to the fairly tricky terrain that is part of the Tunisian rally. But it was Saeed Al-Hajri with a dominant win. He won by over an hour and a half in the end in the Mitsubishi Pajero, and it was his first win in a marathon rally since 1988. A great result for him. In the motorcycle section, a surprise result as the young Flavio Agradi came through, the young Italian winning the motorcycle section of the rally and beating some of the hot favourites. And so on to this year and the 1994 event. Starting off at the French port of Toulon. Toulon welcoming the competitors of the Tunisia Rally for the very first time. It's the first time they've come to this part of France on the start of the event. And this year as well, they're also running a prologue stage just outside Toulon. as the beginning of the whole event. But first of all, the various scrutineering requirements and the paperwork to be gone through, the cars and motorcycles all checked rigorously before competing on the rally. Here we can see Hubert Auriol being timed on his escape time out of the Citroen. In case of accident, he's got to be able to get out of that vehicle very quickly indeed. So they were just checking to make sure he can. Timo Salonen arriving, man who didn't compete on this year's Paris-Dakar Paris Rally, but will be competing on the Tunisia with Citroen. Well, this is Pierre Lartigue, winner of the Paris-Dakar Paris, telling us that the terrain is very difficult in Tunisia. Some of it a bit like the Mauritanian dunes, very, very soft sand, and so they're certainly going to be working on trying to get through some of the more difficult dunes, and that's going to be the challenge. Jean-Pierre Fontenay, the only representative of Mitsubishi, man who competed on this year's Paris-Dakar Paris with Mitsubishi, but this time running in the more standard class. Well, he's telling us that this time they're running with the new car, the more standard car, not running in the prototype T3 category, but running in the T1 series. So he's going to be getting used to this car, and they're just hoping that the new car will perform as well as they want. Jean-Louis Schlesser going through the time test as well. A little bit more difficult for him to get out of the buggy. 4 seconds. So pretty good going nonetheless. Jean-Louis Schlesser, former world sports car champion with Mercedes, who's really taken to the rally raid form of motorsport in the last few years and put in a good effort on the Paris-Dakar Paris before his buggy unfortunately expired in a burst of flames in the desert. And he's competing again. Now this is Jutta Kleinschmidt, lady motorcycle rider normally, but she's going to be racing in another buggy, one of Jean-Louis Schlesser's buggies in this event, sponsored by Slick 50, and she is an engineer and technician with BMW, working on the motorcycle side of things, but this time switching to 4 wheels, and it'll be her first true competition in a rally raid in a car, although she has raced cars in the past, having competed in the Spa 24-hour race in a BMW in the past. Jérôme Rivière in the Duc de Bourgogne buggy, a regular sight on the Paris-Dakar rally. He and Philippe Vonberg were teamed up together on this year's Paris-Dakar, but Rivière competing alone this time. Fairly rigorous safety checks for all the vehicles before they set off by ferry to North Africa and to set off on the first leg of the rally. The competition itself doesn't actually start until Monday. That's when they first get the initial competitive stages underway. Sunday simply spent arriving, getting in place and getting everything ready for the first competitive sections to be held on Monday. Rally sees the cars and motorbikes travelling all the way through Tunisia, from Tunis up in the north, right down to the south of the country, and then ending up again on the coast at Djerba. Now we're talking to Sven Quant here, and Sven telling us about the Gecko Raid team. It's a small off-road preparation company, and he says that this is a bit of a test. They've only just finished the cars off, so they just have to hope that they can go well. Making a return to the world of rally raids is Stefan Petterhansel, the Yamaha rider, running with the French Yamaha team, a man who's had so many successes in this form of the sport. Twice winner of the Paris-Dakar Rally, and also won the Paris-Cape Town event as well when they set off down to South Africa. Petterhansel not taking part in the Paris-Dakar Paris Rally this year, with Yamaha deciding not to take part, as prototypes weren't allowed this year in the Paris-Dakar Paris. But the prototype class is part of this rally, the Tunisian Rally, and therefore Yamaha having the equipment that is competitive in that class. And Petterhansel making a return. Well, he didn't actually make a return today because he didn't compete in the Prologue section at Toulon. He's competing today in a round of the French Enduro Championship, and as he can't miss any rounds of the French Enduro Championship. Peter Hansel deciding to miss this prologue section at Toulon. And although that will cost him a few minutes, it won't really make too much difference in the overall event results. Scrutineering continued with the motorcycles as well. Some discussions regarding the rear light, but all seems to be working fairly well. Plenty of paperwork and a certain amount of bureaucracy to be dealt with before the competitors can get the crash helmets on and forget all this and get on with the actual sport itself. Various parts being marked and sealed, so they can't change things without people knowing. And all the safety equipment being inspected as well. Competitors gathering in Toulon on Thursday, and all the scrutineering and paperwork coming through on Thursday and Friday and into today before setting off on that prologue section today. There's a good picture of the scrolling map system that the motorcyclists use to indicate their route and to try and find their way across the various desert stages that they'll be coming up with fairly soon. This is Thierry Magnaldi, one of the expected front runners in the motorcycle section of the event. And Thierry, local man here at Toulon as well, the local favourite, expected to do well at this first prologue stage. Although the times from this stage won't actually affect the overall positions. They're not timing, although they're timing the stage, it won't be added to their time of the event. In fact, this stage really just being used to decide the starting order when they get to Africa. Well, this is Angelo Cavandoli having his eyes tested on the Optic 2000 equipment. The event being sponsored by Optic 2000. The opticians and optical equipment company, and this a part of the competitors signing on and regulations that they have eye tests from the Optic 2000 personnel before they start the event. Jordi Arcarons signing on as well, the man who finished runner-up in this year's Paris-Dakar Paris Rally to Eddie Orioli. Orioli not here in the Tunisian rally, so Arcarons, another one of the hot favourites. Arcarons on the KTM, part of the team KTM, as is Thierry Magnaldi. And Heinz Kinnegartner also having his eyes tested, another very, very experienced competitor. And well, Heinz Kinnegartner, not only is he a rider, he's also the manager of the motorcycle KTM team, and just telling us that they have a very strong lineup in the team this year. They're really hoping for a good result after last year's experience. Heinz feels that they really do have a very positive chance. He himself finished third on last year's Tunisian event. Former motocross world championship rider. First coverage of the Rally of Tunisia, and this is the start of the prologue. Today's prologue section held at Toulon, and a chance for the competitors to get the feel of the machinery and to establish their starting off order when they get to North Africa, although the times here set at Toulon really not making too much difference in the overall state of things. This first stage being run through the vineyards of the Domaine de la Gaudon region, and well, we saw Flavio Agradi set off. This is Alain Olivier on his Kawasaki, storming through the vineyards, and Alain was in fact to be the fastest on this prologue section today. Fastest by 2 seconds. but the total time on the section of only 4 minutes 37 seconds, indicating this really was just a brief run for the competitors and not a serious long section. Nothing like the 200-mile sections that they'll be doing once they get into Tunisia. Some very, very long stages indeed. 200 to 250 miles long on many of the days. In fact, many of the days having stages of that sort of length. So a lot more serious when they get to that. The number 3 rider is Thierry Magnaldi, who we were talking about, the local favourite from Toulon. Getting some enthusiastic support from the local followers of the event. But Magnaldi, in fact, beaten by Olivier by those 2 seconds. Magnaldi ended up second fastest on his KTM. Richard Sankt, the next competitor on his Honda, he was third fastest, some 12 seconds slower than Alain Olivier. All of the competitors will be finding some very, very different conditions once they actually get to Tunisia itself. Giorgio Borsotto on the number 13 machine, another Honda. Nipping past Fabrizio Mioni. But there is mate Mioni. Fabrizio Mioni, who competed on this year's Paris-Dakar Paris Rally as well. 33-year-old Italian rider, and he had some good stage times on some of the stages on this year's Paris-Dakar Paris, so I'm sure he's looking forward to a competitive performance when they get to Tunisia this time. This is Jürgen Meyer on one of the KTMs in the field. Meyer was 9th fastest over this prologue section. His time of 5 minutes 15 seconds was about 37 seconds off the fastest of the day. And Jordi Arcarons, one of the strong favourites, that's for sure. Well, he wasn't quite as quick today. He was 14th fastest, but the experienced Arcarons knows that it isn't worth risking anything on these first prologue stages. Far more important to get everything ready, set up and prepared for the desert stages. Angelo Cavandoli, another one who we may well expect to see quite a lot more of throughout the course of the event. He was only 25th fastest in the prologue. Team KTM rider, former Italian Enduro champion. Won't be too worried about that. This is Casey Folks, number 20, on another KTM. Casey, the only American rider in the whole event, having his first experience. Well, this is Alain Olivier, the man who won the stage, telling us that he had a good prologue section, very happy, especially to have got in front of Thierry Magnaldi, who with his local knowledge perhaps would have expected to have won this one, but Olivier very happy. Jürgen Meyer coming to the end of the stage as well. And another one fairly happy with the performance of his KTM to go 9th fastest.
Fantastic. My first time in France, fantastic. Very, very good prologue. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's exciting.
And our American rider obviously enjoying his first experiences. the car section and the prologue for the cars of the Tunisian rally, and a chance for the powerful machinery to zap around this French vineyard before setting off on the ferry and making the crossing to North Africa. This is Timo Salonen making a return to the Citroen team, having not competed in this year's Paris-Dakar Paris rally, but very much a part of the team for this event, and he was in fact fastest over this prologue section. Salonen really giving it some stick in the ZX Rally Raid. 330 brake horsepower from these things, four-wheel drive of course, very big cars, very much larger than most rally cars, huge ground clearance to deal with the conditions they come across. This is Hubert Auriol, man who formerly rode motorcycles in these type of events and then switched to four wheels, now a regular member of the Citroen team. This is Timo Salonen.
How is the car?
Very good. Car is very good.
You made some test or you attack?
Medium attack. Medium, not too fast.
Medium attack from Timo Salonen. So again, looking after the machinery, the important thing. Jean-Louis Schlesser in his buggy, two-wheel drive machine, this one. So lacking a little bit in the traction department perhaps over the four-wheel drive Citroens, but Schlesser has won a rally raid in the buggy before, winning one event last year, Faroes Rally, and he is going to be hoping that the Citroens will run into problems, and if they do, then Schlesser could very much well be the man to take the victory. But he's going to have opposition in the buggy department from Jérôme Rivière in the Duc de Bourgogne machine, and these buggies really have been developed over the last few years, and although only running two-wheel drive, they really have become very much more competitive. Very tight and twisty section, perhaps more suited to the motorcycles than to the cars. Nevertheless, the cars are finding their way through. This is Bruno Gilles in the Ipso 02, an unusual car. Something we didn't see in the Paris-Dakar Paris Rally this year, this making its introduction in the Tunisian Rally. Duarte Guedes in the Nissan Terrano. Fairly strong Nissan team this year in the T1 and T2 categories. That's the T1 is the standard class and the T2 the slightly modified class. And Guedes co-driven by Jackie Dubois in the T1 standard class. Thierry Andretta in the 221 machine, Mitsubishi Pajero. Doesn't sound as though the Mitsubishi Pajero is running too well at this stage though. Francesco Germanetti in the Nissan Patrol GRT2, the modified class. Germanetti, another man who competed on the Paris-Dakar Paris this year, 36-year-old Italian. Finished second in Faroes Rally in '92. Last year was sixth on the Baja 1000 Rally. So definitely one to watch out for over the course of the next 9 days or so. Germanetti with a good record in this form of motorsport. Jerome Hardy, number 218. Tenth fastest on today's stage in the Mitsubishi. Some 1 minute and a second behind Timo Salonen with that fastest time. And Jutta Kleinsmith having her first real experience of buggy driving. And we had a little chat with her afterwards. She said it's great fun whether you're on a motorcycle or in the car. But she said she's pretty happy today to be in the car because it's been raining today. She would have been pretty wet and cold if she'd been riding the motorcycle. So more than happy to have a roof over her head this time. Sven Quant, man we were talking to a little bit earlier on, proceeding through the stage in the number 222 machine. Finished a little bit further down the order in 37th position. But near problems for some of the competitors. And that was Thierry Delaverne nearly rolling his machine over, just about getting away with it, and the Nissan continuing on the rest of the stage. Not quite so lucky for some of the other competitors though. One or two definitely did have a mishap. This was Remy Nalo, and thankfully everyone able to push him back onto his feet, and the Range Rover Special able to continue on its way. Not a great start though for Nalo. Horst Gödel in the Tatra. The Tatra part of the truck section, and we'll be seeing more of the trucks as we take the rally through into Tunisia. Günther Kronsetter, Christian Leonard also in the trucks part. And Klaus Berl, final competitor. So the results of today's events. The motorcycles, first of all, Alain Olivier, the fastest. And these times, don't forget, just giving them their starting off positions when they get to Africa. In the cars, Citroen in the top three, really pretty much as we would have expected. Well, we'll be following the event all the way through the week. Hope you can stay with us for the Tunisia Rally. Bye for now.
Optique 2000 brought